I don't know about you, but I was surprised by how much fun I had with Netflix's Fear Street trilogy. The way the three movies tied together and interwove lore of a small town made for an effective slasher. Well, the franchise is back with Fear Street Prom Queen. Can this new entry capture the same bloody magic? Prom season at Shadyside High is underway, and the school's wolfpack of it girls is busy with its usual sweet and vicious campaigns for the crown. But when a gutsy outsider puts herself in the running and the other girls start mysteriously disappearing, the class of '88 is suddenly in for one hell of a prom night. So no going into this that the only real tie to the other Fear Street films is that this also takes place in the somewhat cursed town of Shadyside. Outside of that, and a couple of minor mentions that nod to the original trilogy, this has nothing to do with the other set of films. So if you have been anticipating a new entry with witchcraft, possession, and gore, you're gonna have to settle for only one of those. Now obviously, thanks to the title, this revolves around prom, and we get introduced to the handful of girls who are gonna be vying for the crown. But an issue arises. The nominees seem to be meeting an untimely demise thanks to a raincoat-covered axe wielder. Now, the movie is a quick 88 minutes, and the time is felt, but not in the way you might expect. This rushes absolutely everything, from character development, which is dumped on us via an uninventive voiceover, to the impetus for why the killings are even occurring. The story needed to invest more time so that we could become invested in what was happening, and then why. And let me be clear here. The why is so pathetic and obvious that I would be shocked if you haven't guessed the perpetrator and the motive within the first 20-ish minutes, maybe even less. The lack of suspense and anticipation, it's dreadful. And I wasn't expecting some groundbreaking new twist on the slasher genre. I mean, the first Fear Street trilogy was cheesy in spots, but it also leaned into it while also giving us a reason to care about the characters. Here, they're all anonymous bodies just waiting to be desanguinated. And also, because this particular story takes place in the '80s, we have all the visual nostalgia bait of a film that's trying way too hard to make it look like it was set in that decade. I mean, all you filmmakers out there that are placing your stories in the '80s, just stop trying so hard. I mean, we don't need these over-the-top inaccuracies. Give us some acid-wash jeans, maybe a little bit of high bangs and feathered hair, pegged pants, and then a great soundtrack. All of us that were alive during that time were happily then transported back. But when you force-feed images and set pieces that don't fit the time period, it not only comes across as wildly wrong, but it also instantly shouts how little knowledge you have of your story setting, which then makes me question any other stylistic choices you might make. Okay, I think my rant's over. It just, pisses me off when we see some white dude walking in with this massively thick boombox on his shoulder, but it's one that was designed to sit in a dorm room. It's not the thin and tall versions that were actually used in the '80s. All right. Well, the one thing that does work well in this film is the gore. We are treated to some brutality that's nasty in spots and effective in creating some wincing moments. And I like, too, that some of the kills happen pretty close to the start of the movie. It doesn't help with any of the character background or story development, but it does get us into some exciting territory quickly, even if we don't care about any of the victims. Now, I had fun with the deaths, especially when some were abrupt and gruesome. And a couple, they were just okay. I mean, nothing to become overly excited about. But thanks to some improvised weaponry, a few of the kills will make you give an approving golf clap. Now, this movie sees the return of Chris Klein, who I can't even tell you the last time I saw that dude in a movie outside of, American Pie. But his character suffers along with the rest of the cast by not having any meaningful background, just lumping him in with the other characters and then not giving him much to do. And then there's Lily Taylor, and her involvement is extremely disappointing. Not that she's in it. I mean, her talent is just wasted in this story. She plays the vice principal at the school, and she is written to be a party poop destroyer of fun, but the movie doesn't exploit it to the degree that she becomes useful to the plot. She's clearly meant to be seen as a villain to the students, but her inclusion is so sporadic and ill-timed, just removing the ominous presence that she's meant to impose. And I think that's kind of the sentiment that hangs over the entire movie. It's lackluster and is so quick to rush into an already thin story that the lack of character building erodes the connection and enjoyment even faster. The characters are strangers, and we're not provided with any reasoning to care about them. And the setting of Shadyside is gimmicky and pointless, never leaning into the lore the other films effectively doled out, even if to just create a foreboding atmosphere. The plot itself is unimaginably obvious, making this more painful to watch than what some of the characters endure when meeting their demise. Now, I did have fun with the slasher aspect, showcasing some gnarly and disgusting visuals full of blood and gore, but without players to be concerned for, the brutality that's inflicted is just ineffective. This was a massively disappointing watch and shouldn't be lumped in with the other Fear Street films. And while those aren't flawless or even the best slashers ever, Prom Queen makes them come across as cinematic masterpieces. There's no sex or nudity, some profanity, and a ton of gory violence. I give Fear Street Prom Queen 1.5 out of 5 couches. I really need a pick-me-up. Have you seen any good slashers lately? Let me know what you watched in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.